Jennifer Stamper, the assessor for the City of Westland. In the coming days, you will receive your annual notice of assessment in the mail. This shows the values of your property in the previous year and what they will be in the current year. While this form may look confusing, there are a few key areas to review. First, make sure your name and mailing address is correct. Next, if the property is your primary residence or the place you intend to return to whenever you leave, double check that the percent exempt as homeowner's principal residence exemption is 100%. If you need to make any corrections to either the name, mailing address, or principal residence exemption, please contact the assessor's office. You will see an area which shows the approximate change in your taxes based on this notice. This increase is estimated from the previous year's millage rates and is approximately how much your taxes will change from the previous year. A very important area to review is the values. You will see three different types of values: taxable value, assessed value, and state equalized value. You will also notice there is an amount for the prior year and an amount for the current year and the difference between those amounts. I will discuss the taxable value first. The taxable value is the amount you pay taxes on. This number, multiplied by the millage rates of the city, school district, county, and state, equates to your annual summer and winter taxes. Starting in 1994, the increase to your taxable value can be no more than 5% or the rate of inflation, whichever is less. For 2025, the rate of inflation was 3.1%. Therefore, all taxable values in the entire state of Michigan will receive an increase of 3.1%. Now, there are a few times when the taxable value may increase beyond the rate of inflation. The first wave would include properties that had a physical change the previous year. Physical changes include things such as decks, porches, and garages. Items such as siding, windows, and new roofs do not increase your taxable value. If you look at the Assessor Change Reason box, this will show if your value was increased based on normal market adjustment, which I will explain in just a moment, or there was some type of new construction or demolition of things such as decks, porches, and garages. If you are unsure what may have been added or removed from your property, you can contact the assessor's office and we will be glad to look into it. The second way your taxable value may increase is if you purchased your property in the previous year. If that occurs, your taxable value will be equal to the assessed value for the coming year. This is the new capped value going forward and will increase by the rate of inflation in subsequent years. You will notice line 5 shows if there was or was not a transfer in the previous year. If you believe there was not a transfer but this line shows there was, please contact the assessor's office. The other values on the notice are the assessed value and state equalized values. These numbers will be the same amount and are simply two different names for the same thing. I will refer to it as the assessed value during this explanation. While your taxable value can only increase by the rate of inflation, your assessed value will adjust according to market conditions, which may be different than the rate of inflation. The assessed value is half of the true cash value of your property for assessment purposes. This value is determined based on a number of things. First, assessors must value property based on a State of Michigan approved manual, which is updated annually. This manual calculates the value of every item that may be on your property, from the type of foundation of the structure to the size of any porches. Since this manual is used throughout the entire state, there are adjustments that must be made to these values, as usually the cost to construct something in the Upper Peninsula will be different than constructing the same thing in Southeast Michigan. To do this, we utilize adjustment factors for the county, which are determined annually by the State of Michigan, and an economic condition factor, or ECF. The ECF is determined based on sales in a given neighborhood for a 2-year period of time. For the 2025 assessments, the sales utilized incurred before April 1st, 2022 and March 31st, 2024. We evaluate these sales and determine the average level of change to values during that time. This is called mass appraisal, as we are not doing individual value reviews on each property. While sales are used to help us determine values, please do not rely on the assessed value as the possible selling price of your home. As I previously mentioned, the last sale we used in the study was March 31st of the previous year. You should contact a real estate professional or independent appraiser to determine the value of your property if you are looking to sell, as they will be able to use much more current values. If you believe the assessed value is inaccurate, you have the right to appeal to the March Board of Review. The board is made up of 3 residents of the city. At the bottom of your notice, you will see contact information for the assessing department. The assessing office is staffed with knowledgeable people who can assist you with any questions you may have. The dates and times of the March Board Review are listed below the contact information. You must schedule an appointment to appear or submit a protest in writing by the date shown. It is important to remember the March Board Review can only hear appeals on the assessed value. They have no authority to adjust the taxable value or your taxes. If you wish to appeal the assessed value, you will be required to support what you believe the value should be and show supporting documentation. Supporting documentation can include appraisals, pictures, or sales analysis. The March Board Review will use your documentation and ask the assessing office to supply documentation on how the assessment was determined to decide an independent value. Now a quick summary. The middle section of the notice will show the approximate change to your taxes for the coming year. It will also show the taxable value, which is determined by the previous year's value multiplied by the rate of inflation. This number cannot be appealed to the March Board Review. It also shows the assessed value, which is half the true cash value of your property for assessment and tax purposes only. If you believe this value is inaccurate, you may appeal to the March Board Review with supporting documentation of what you believe the value should be. If you have any questions, please contact the Assessor's Office at 734-467-3160 or Assessor at cityofwestland.com. That is ASSESSOR at cityofwestland.com.